Hello again, everybody. This is Dave Reynolds from the Journal Star Sports Department, welcoming you to another Journal Star podcast. Our guest today, Bradley University head coach Brian Wardle. Thanks for coming, Brian.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a special day in college basketball, fall signing day, and we don't have any names from Bradley yet. But anything going to happen in this next week for you guys?
Possibly. It's kind of nice, to be honest. I mean, we're not in a rush to sign anybody. We've been very picky with only having 2 scholarships on what we need and what we want. We're really excited about the kid we have committed in the 2019 class. So we've just been real patient with what we want. We've recruited a couple kids. We've had to go a different direction from a couple, to be quite honest. But we are on some very good players that we know and have known are going to wait till the spring. So the beauty is we don't have to rush. We got a good core coming back, we feel, the following year, even after this season. So we're going to take our time and find the perfect fit, someone that wants to really be at Bradley and can contribute on the floor for sure.
And 2 openings, I'm assuming, with the scholarships. And as far as losing Dante and JoJo, wing forwards, I'm guessing that might be a priority.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at that. A scoring guard. That athleticism is big. We want the athleticism. We're looking for length. We're looking for a one scoring kind of wing and a combo forward athlete. So there's no doubt we want to fill those type of voids, but we'll obviously take the best player we can also. And we're on some very good players that I think are kind of feeling out. More and more kids are waiting now. We're finding that. And so we're really being very picky about who we get, who we sign. And if we don't this November, we're definitely going to have some good ones, I think, in the spring.
And the other exciting part of this week, obviously, the start of the season is just 3 days ahead. You've got your opener Saturday at 1 o'clock at Carver against IUPUI. First of all, just give us a brief overview of that game, and then maybe just looking forward to the season a little bit.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, season 3 starting. I told the team on Monday, the regular season is now here, preseason is over. And I thought we had a very good preseason. We improved in some areas. We got a long ways to go still, but I loved having 3 kind of scrimmages and exhibitions. I mean, I thought that was great that we were able to put together a third one and raise money for a charity and get that experience too, to play at Lewis University in front of fans and with referees again. So we had a good preseason. IUPUI presents some challenges. They got skilled big men that can pick and pop. They're smaller than us. They're very quick, very fast. It's going to be a really good challenge for us in the season opener, but I know our guys are itching and excited to get back in Carver and start this regular season off. And I'm excited. I think we got a good continuity right now. We are all healthy. We've had some good practices. We've necessarily haven't totally clicked offensively yet. We've done some good things defensively. And I think as we continue to improve our offense and continue to just be more consistent defensively, I'm going to I think, some of the outcomes we have this non-conference.
What needs to happen offensively yet?
Well, we got to get post scoring. We definitely need to get more post scoring. We're getting more post touches, but we're not getting enough scoring right now. So I think that's a big emphasis for us this week is, can we get the ball inside? Can we get some post scoring? We can't rely on all perimeter play as we have a little bit in the preseason. So that's a big challenge for our frontline guys that have worked hard, but now it's time to put it into play on game days. And we got to shoot the 3 better. I mean, we've shot it very well in practice. It's really not a big concern of mine. I know we're going to make 3s, but we've had some of our better shooters not shoot it great this preseason in just the exhibition game. So we got to come out and shoot it with confidence and knock down perimeter shots. And I think if we do that, we could be a tough team to guard.
And from what we saw in the exhibition games, you guys gave everybody a shot. All roster players played double-figure minutes for the most part between the 2 games. Did you see some combinations in those games? And I know you can't talk about the close scrimmage specifically, right, but just overall some combinations that are clicking that you maybe didn't expect?
Yes. We had a big lineup in in a couple series that we really, really defended and rebounded and made some big runs in some games. And so I like that lineup of, Jaden was at the one, you had JoJo, you had D'Lo, you had Eli, and you had Koch. And those five have really played well together and are long and defended and rebounded and ran and did some good things. So I got a zone lineup. So it's been very helpful. I think you have a skilled lineup that you can throw against a zone. If you see a lot of zone in a game, you have a big lineup if you need to get stops. I feel pretty comfortable about special situations, who I want on defense late game, who we need on offense late game to execute and get a shot. So those are the things what preseason's all about. It's nice having 10 players back because you got a good feel of what they can do and who can execute and who can, really execute under pressure. I always say it's, what to do, how to do it. Now you have to do it under pressure. And that's constantly training your brain to commit to the details and execute under pressure. And I think that's where we're going into now is executing under pressure, which is Saturday, better than we have so far.
And you walk around town these days, and there is more of a buzz about this team, than we've seen for a while. People have higher expectations based on the building of the program. You finished last season strong. Things they've read and seen about the depth of this team. It looks like, the Valley's pretty wide open. I mean, it looks like this could be the year to make a big jump for the Braves.
And that's what we're hoping. We're calling, our theme this year is the movement, and it's all about the movement upwards on the floor. We've moved upwards in a lot of other areas that you have to do to build a program and to build a culture and to sustain a winning program. And we've done those things. Now it's time to go on that floor and be more consistent and learn how to win and string together some wins, and especially in the non-conference. And rightfully so. I'm excited too. We still got to go out there and do it. We haven't done it consistently, especially early in the season. And I've challenged my team. They know. These are smart guys. They care. They've put a lot of time in. You know me, Dave. I don't beat around the bush. I tell them straight up, here's what we got to do. And it is about the movement and moving upwards. And I'm excited. I think we know what we can do. I think a lot of guys on our team have a chip on their shoulder. I think we've been, they read. I mean, these kids read social media nowadays. I mean, they're constantly on it. They have a chip on their shoulder. They feel, their talent and what we've been able to do and string together in Valley play last year maybe might not be getting the respect from people. And Bradley's been down for so long. They want to keep us down. And that's just not going to happen. And these players are going to make sure of that. And then, so that's exciting for me to be around, is that urgency and that self-motivation, that chip on the shoulder that I think we're continuing to try to drive every day in practice.
Well, for what it's worth, you've got respect in this corner. The Bradley Hoops special section comes out on Thursday, and I've got you guys picked 4th in the league.
Well, I hope I want to make you look smart, Dave. So I appreciate that. And I think that you're around our practices. I think you see some things that people don't get to see. We got to still do it, and I understand that. But I think you got to give our guys believe. I mean, I think that's a big thing, is the belief now going into year 3 has got to be there, that if we do these things, we're going to be in the game and can win every game. And I think our talent level's better, our depth is better. We're bigger, we're longer. We got some shooters, we got athletes, like I've said. Even though we only have 2 seniors and we rely heavily on our sophomores, I still think this is a team that can go out and compete every night and put themselves in position to win.
And we talked briefly about IUPUI, the opener on Saturday. That begins a stretch of 5 games in the first 9 days of the season.
Beautiful.
How do you feel? I mean, is that less than ideal, or did you want to, with a veteran team, you want to get out there and play?
Well, we want to play now. Year 3, I think, I had a 5-year plan when I interviewed with Dr. Reynolds, and I explained to him what my vision was, and we're right on track. There's always bumps in the road. Nothing's smooth. Nothing ever, as we all know, nothing goes as planned perfectly. But I'm excited about our schedule and the aggressiveness in November of playing a lot of games. And I got to be smart as a coach. I think I have been. Like yesterday, for instance, we really ran a lot. I mean, we got up and down. We ran a lot of cardio, a lot of conditioning. We played a lot. And that's because on Thursday and Friday, it's time to prep. It's time to mentally be sharp and be ready to go at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And that running will get up and down always every day, but not as much. And so I think balancing practice plans and understanding their bodies and keeping them mentally fresh is going to be key, opening up with 5 games in 9 days. But I think this team's up for the challenge, and they love to compete. This team loves to play. They want to compete. And so that's a good thing when you got a group like that, is to get games in line, because they don't want to practice now for a week straight.
Sure.
Now that November is hit, that's for sure.
And just looking ahead a bit at the schedule, the Bahamas, you open against Vermont, which is a very, very solid program, NCAA qualifier last year. Have everybody back, and that'll be a real challenge.
Real challenge. They didn't lose a game in league last year, and they're well coached. The coach has been there a long time, and they're a winning culture, winning program, and they expect to win every night they lace them up. So those are the teams we want to play. Those are the programs we want to try to beat, and it's going to be a great challenge in the Bahamas. IUPUI Delaware will definitely prepare us for that Bahamas tournament, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see how we come out, the confidence, the belief we have, the talk, the leadership. Can we control our emotions? Can we respond when bad events happen to us or bad series happens? Can we respond and play smart and execute? And when we learned how to do that last year, that's when we played better basketball, because we do have good basketball players. So it's going to be fun to see if we can do that out of the start. And
the player that fans ask me most about, and I'm guessing you too, is Koch. And he's bigger. He looks bigger, stronger, more confident this year. What kind of a year are you expecting out of him?
Well, we need him to go out there and rebound, block shots, and give us some post scoring this year. Last year, we really tried to he was so light, and we asked so much of him as a 6'10 freshman, 6'11 at 205 to 215. We really wanted to get him the ball off diving, off ball screens, off spacing, off drop-offs. This year, we want to throw it to him inside. We want him to dive and post and hold his seal longer so we can get more touches down there for him, because he's an unselfish big. He's not a black hole. I've coached black holes and played with them. We should be willing to pass to him because he will skip it for 3. His best gift is his passing. I always try to tell people that. That's why I loved recruiting him and wanted him so bad, because we can improve everything else. But his gift to pass, see the open man, is very strong for a guy his size. So we need to get him touches. If we can get him 5 to 8 post touches a game, I think that's going to help us offensively a lot.
And a lot of fans are also excited about Elijah Childs, your freshman. More of a power forward, but he can play the post as well, can't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's a frontline guy that I think we can develop his skill set. He's a good 3-point shooter. I've seen him have a very smooth stroke, comes off his hand clean, just doesn't have the confidence there yet. And so that's where reps and hard work can lead to that confidence one day for him. But he's a guy in the rotation for sure. I mean, he's coming in right away and can play the 4, can play the 5. Depends on who we play. Like IUPUI, they'll have a 5-man that pick and pops for 3s. We're going to need him to maybe play some 5 and switch ball screens, and he can guard. I feel very comfortable with him containing a guard, keeping the ball in front. So that versatility, like Dante has defensively, I think is going to really help us this year.
And you have to feel really good about your backcourt. I mean, you got a lot of depth there, a lot of combinations. They all handle the ball well. Turnovers was a problem the last couple of years, so it looks like that's going to be alleviated some this year.
Year 1, year 2, it dropped. We needed to drop again in year 3. And it's been a huge emphasis for us, decision-making, watching film on decision-making, pivoting, fundamental passing away from the deep, post-feeding. We've done more of that this offseason and even in practice than we've ever done. Because if we can keep that turnovers down and that turnover percentage down, we were so much better offensively. I mean, 10 to 12 points better, because we got guys that can make shots, I feel. We got good shooters. So we got to take care of that basketball, and especially in transition, take care of that basketball. And if we can do that, I think our offense will jump up again. And that's what we want to do. We want to play controlled aggression. I always say that first 10 seconds, we want to take what the defense gives us and be aggressive. If we can get an open 3 in transition or quick post touch, we need to do that and attack. If we don't, we got to have some patience, reverse the ball, move the ball, cut hard, bodies move, ball moves with great spacing. And if we can do that, I think our offense will make another big jump this year. And it needs to, because I think that's going to be key in our league is everyone's good defensively. And we got to be able to make some shots and score the ball.
And we talked the other day about metrics a little bit, and maybe the number one stat in your mind is rebounding percentage. And you explained that to me. If you could just kind of explain why that's important and how it works.
Well, I believe in some analytics. I'm not an analytic coach that studies all these numbers, because I don't think it factors in so many areas of the game. But the one number I really studied this offseason was percentages. And it's an NBA thing. They go more on percentages than like rebounding margin, because percentages factor in how many possessions in the game. So if you're playing a fast-paced game where you get 75 possessions on offense, there's probably going to be more misses if you have a good defensive game. So, for instance, in one of our exhibitions against Lewis, I think they had like 48 misses, or Robert Morris, it was like 50 misses. Well, they got 14 offensive rebounds, which doesn't look good on paper anytime you see 14. But if there was 75 possessions that game and they missed 50 shots, that percentage, if we defensive rebounded 75% of those, then I'm okay with that. We did our job, and that's our goal. So we have a certain mark that we know contends in the Valley, that wins the Valley. If you can be in the top 3 in these percentages, you're going to have a chance to win it. And we want, as a program, to stay at that percentage. So it factors in turnovers. It factors in the pace of the game. And if you're having a great game defensively, making people miss, it factors that into, which rebounding margin does not. So I like that number for our program. And turnover percentage is the same thing.
One thing we noticed in the preseason with the new uniforms, no names on the backs. And that's unusual in college basketball these days. I don't know. I could think of maybe Indiana. I don't know how many teams do that. Other than selling more scorecards, I'm sure there's a real purpose behind that in your mind.
Team first, self last mentality. It's a huddle break we've had in the program for 2 years. I think last year we went through. Our culture got even stronger in Valley play. We had some talks. We had some team meetings. I think the young guys learned how to be together and what it means to be unselfish and sacrifice for one another. And you always hear the phrase, play for the name on the front, not the name on the back. And I've always believed that it's an honor to have your last name on the back and represent your family. But it was really something that the players were for too, and thought it would be a good thing for us this year, is to realize we are all on Bradley's team. We play for each other. Your name will always be recognized nowadays. I mean, it's different than back in the day with you can look up anybody online on your phone now and know who's who and what number. But it was more of a team first, self last mentality. We're all playing in this together, and we need all 14 guys and 14 strong. And it was just something we wanted to do this year and kind of see where it goes from here.
Okay. And that kind of fits into with the conversation we had about team captains. And I know that's something you haven't done, is select team captains or have the team vote them or whatever. But if you can maybe explain your philosophy behind that.
Leadership is developed and shown in so many different ways. I believe everyone can be a leader at this level. We need everyone to lead in certain ways, from Pete Hanley to Callum Barker to Darryl Brown to Jane Hodgson. We need everyone to lead in certain ways. And I think captains you're seeing is kind of fading a little bit in that manner. We don't have right now, in my opinion, just a straight up, this is the guy type leader. We lead by committee. And that's okay. I think we do have way more leadership than we did a year ago when it comes to communicating with each other, meetings, huddles, talking the game, off the floor, being together more. We have more of it than we've had, but we don't have that big personality that's controlling everything when it comes to the game. And a lot of times you want your vocal leaders to be your point guards, and I do. I've never had a good team that didn't have a vocal point guard, and so I'm challenging Jaden, DB, Lukeman. We need your vocal, and they've tried, and they're doing it every day. But I think we got a lot of different types of leaders and a lot of guys that can help us lead. So formulating a captain and designating it, I just didn't feel like was probably what's best for the program this year.
And you mentioned, too, the guys lead in different ways, not necessarily on the court, but I think you mentioned Luke Von Bray is a great off-the-court leader.
Callum Barker, great teammate. Guys respect him, ask him what he thinks. What do you think about this, Cal? Like, that's off the floor. That's what people don't see. That's leadership, and they respect Cal because he's a bright guy and he's a team first, self last guy. And Luke Von Bray is a guy who was voted best teammate last year amongst his peers because he was a guy that very mature. I think they respect that he gets it, the big picture of life, the big picture of what we're trying to do as a program, and that's leadership. Following, I always try to explain, like, just follow the guys that are doing everything right on and off the floor. That's leadership in a way, that you're just smart enough to go, you know what? Jaden's doing everything right. I'm going to hang out with Jaden. He seems to get it. He seems to get what coach wants. That's a good sign of leadership. Then you got like D'Lo and Dante who they can bring a ton of energy. They talk. They're tough. They're passionate to compete. That's leadership. Daryl leads a lot in one-on-one talks on the sideline. He's not a big vocal guy, but he'll bring the group together, and he's very smart. He says smart comments. I think Jaden is our vocal leader overall every day, but Nate Cannell's a lot like DB, not the loudest guy, but he really speaks up and says smart basketball things in the huddles and at timeouts. So those are all things that people don't see, and that's all leadership. So Koch Barr is speaking up more this year. He's a very smart basketball player. He's helping Elijah yesterday in practice with some things. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. If we can all lead positively, but also hold each other accountable, the player accountability more as a group and lead with a committee, that's going to help our program grow again.
In the Valley, obviously everybody knows Wichita State's gone, but Valparaiso, a very a very, very strong replacement. Valpo has been, in the NCAA tournament numerous times in the last 20 years. What do you see out of that program, and how do you see the Valley overall?
Valparaiso, really good program, winning program. I mean, Homer Drew I know well, Bryce I know well. I had battles against them when I was at Green Bay in that league. We battled each other for the league title for many years, and got a lot of respect for Valparaiso and the program they have. It's a winning culture, winning program. They expect to win, they believe to win, and that is always, I think, what you want in your program every day. So they're going to have that mentality. I do think it's the Valley to the Horizon League is a jump. It is. It's deeper, bigger, a different type of league too when it comes to skill level compared to athleticism. So it's going to. I think they'll have a little bit of adjustment, but I expect them to be pretty good and battle and be competitive every game. And the league, 2 to 3 years, I think this window is going to be exciting for Missouri Valley basketball. It's very exciting for our program with our leadership of Dr. Reynolds and what our vision is. And now we got to go out on that floor, build that excitement with good basketball at Carver. But I think there's a 2 to 3 year window where 1 or 2 programs are going to make a jump and invest in their program that more than they have in the past and try to be the next Creighton. And that team you mentioned that left. I mean, there's that window for some programs that have been in the Valley a long time to do that. And look where it's taken those programs and their universities in general. I mean, it's taken their whole universities to another level when it comes to enrollment and everything. So I think it's a next 2-3 years is a really exciting time for Missouri Valley basketball and for, I think 4 to 5 programs that want to go all in and see what can happen.
Yeah, that team I mentioned, you haven't heard from Greg Marshall yet on wanting to play you guys.
No, I would love to. I think it's, just a pretty straightforward question. Let's play, and we haven't heard back. We even, emailed them. My director of ops, Reinhard Scharbaugh, shot an email over right away and said, hey, let's play, and just haven't heard anything back. So we'll keep being persistent there because I know that's something that our fans would like and I would like. I mean, I always like playing people in year 4 and 5 of the program and 1 and 2 when you're rebuilding. it's always a tougher competitive game. But I think where we'll be, those are the type of opponents we want to play.
Final thoughts as we enter the season here on Saturday?
I just think it's the movement's going to start this Saturday. I'm very confident and believe in this group. I'm excited. It's the deepest, most talented team we've had. We have a lot to improve on, but I think the effort, the teamwork, the togetherness, I think all that the blue-collar Peoria and our fans love to watch, they're going to see. And they're going to see that every home game. And so come on out to Carver. Come support this group. It's not, there's going to be ups and downs like every season, but I think I'm hoping and planning on them seeing some very consistent basketball and hopefully getting excited for Valley play. But we need them in the non-conference. I think that's the biggest thing, Dave. We need our fans, our players feed off them. They can really energize these young men. And I think if we can get Carver rocking this non-conference, we're going to have a fun Valley year.
And that wraps up today's podcast. Our thanks to Brian Wardle, Bradley head coach, for joining us. Thank you very much for coming by.
As always, Dave, thank you, and thanks for all the support.
Absolutely. Once again, this is the end of today's podcast. Thanks again for joining us. So long for now.